Oh man, hello everyone. It's Adrian, and you're welcome back to the channel where I talk about my unfiltered thoughts and opinions that nobody asked for. If that sounds like something that you're into, like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get right into today's episode. Yes, the title is right. Today, we're gonna be talking about a pretty serious topic, even though I know we only talk about not only but most of the time we always talk about serious topics. Okay, we always talk about real life stuff on here, but I guess that's just my way of being dramatic for no reason. But this time I do have a reason. Okay, so let's get right into today's episode. Yes, you read that title right. I am in a really weird phase in my life. I don't know what it is. I do not know what's happening or what's going on, to be honest, but we're gonna go through it. We're gonna go through it and talk about every single thing right now, right here. So let's get right into it. Again, if you were to ask me what phase of my life I'm in right now, I would say it's a really weird, super weird phase. And if you were to ask me to describe this phase of my life in one single word, I would say waiting. Now, waiting for who? Waiting for what? I have no idea. I really do not know. Waiting for who? There's no one that I'm really waiting for, or something that I'm waiting for. Again, I cannot, if you were to ask me what phase I'm in, I would say I'm in a waiting phase. But waiting for who? I don't know. Waiting for what? Same thing. I don't know. I don't know who or what I'm waiting for. I have no idea because, man, I think with a lot of people, I think me, like everybody else, we all have these different phases that we go through. And if you're someone who like wants more out of your life, again, if you're someone who, let's say if you're someone who wants like a normal life, again, you're one of those people who just wants to go to school. After school you want to like get a job, a stable 9 to 5 job, and then you want to get married and have kids, and then that's it, then retire and die. If that's what you want, that's a beautiful thing. Go for it. If that's what makes you happy, again, go for it. Good for you. But that's just not something that I really want, to be honest. And there's also, on the other side, there is also people who don't want that. They want to go towards a more unconventional path in life. I think I fall towards that second category. I don't think I've ever been the kind of person who wants to go towards that like conventional path that everybody goes towards and everybody does. Like I have no interest in doing any of that. Of course, if that's what you want and if that's what you are drawn to, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful life, right? It's a beautiful life, but it's just not something that I want for myself. And with me, from studying a lot of biographies of people who have done some pretty good stuff, some pretty great things, whether that's like artists or athletes, anyone who's done like something that's like something that has ended up becoming bigger than them. Again, whether that's like an artist, an athlete, by going towards a more unconventional path. From their biographies, all of them, something that they have in common is this journey. This journey from, again, from where they used to be or who they used to be to who they now are. It's this thing where it's like these 4 stages that they all have gone through. Most of the time it's this place where it's like the first stage is this stage of like, it's like a tower moment, this stage where they get to like make that decision, like, okay, now I want to do something different, I want to do something good, something great, even, I don't want to live a normal life, or I don't want to go towards this conventional path. I just want to do something different, something that, that calling that you get, that's what I want to do. from after them deciding what they want, something that always happens in this first stage is things start to crumble down. Literally, every single thing starts to like go wrong for some reason. It's something that I've talked about in a video that I did a few months ago. If you have any time, go watch it. I think it's called For the People Who Are in Between Phases right now. You can go watch it right now. It's a pretty good one. Anyways, that first phase is where every single thing starts to go wrong for some reason. Tower moments. Every single thing that you've built starts to crumble down. Relationships, all it's just about you burning bridges. Every single thing going wrong. Relationships going wrong. Breaking up. You not feeling like you're aligned with your friends and not just being in alignment with your friends, your environment, every single thing that you've worked so hard for over the years, just crumbling down and falling down, and just nothing is working out. That's like your dark night of the soul, where you just go through a deep, I don't know, like depression, where every single thing is just going wrong. Maybe people are passing away, or maybe your business is failing, or maybe you're an artist and nothing is just working out for you. Again, you can apply this for anything. It's just this phase where every single thing that can possibly go wrong goes wrong, Then there's this second phase where it's about you, like all these things, all these horrible things have happened, and it's just now about you unlearning things. You're no longer the person whom you used to be, all these people that you used to be friends with, you're no longer friends with. People you used to date, you're no longer in relationships with. Maybe you've moved away from the environments that you used to be at. Now you're a completely different person, okay? It's now this second stage. It's about you unlearning bad habits, you getting out of toxic relationships, toxic friendships, and so forth, toxic environments, and you unlearning all these limiting beliefs and letting go of things that no longer serves you, relationships, people, environments that no longer serves this new version of yourself that you're becoming, and you're just not the same person anymore. It's just like a lot of unlearning bad habits and getting out of toxic environments, relationships, and situations. This second phase, it's about you unlearning stuff, maybe things that you used to know, things that you used to like maybe believe to be true for you, maybe relationships, friendships. Again, it could be anything. You can apply this to anything. It's just you. It's about you becoming this new version of yourself, and just doing a lot of inner work, just like, again, working on your mentality. And it's just a lot of healing, let's just say, lots and lots and lots of healing. Then there's this like third stage, this third phase where nothing happens. That's what I like to call the waiting phase. Again, waiting for who, waiting for what, I don't know, I have no idea. Again, that's what I like to call the waiting phase, where nothing literally happens. Absolutely nothing happens. Every single thing that you try to do or go after brings you down, brings you back to this stage. You go out there, you do things, nothing happens. Silent. You try to go after things, try to make things happen, nothing happens. Again, it's just this phase where absolutely nothing works out for some reason. Nothing happens. You're just like bored. You know what I mean? Like, you're bored. And I like to call this also this tasting phase, where I guess life is just like throwing all these curveballs, where everything is boring. Nothing interesting is happening, at least nothing that you want is happening. And it's just a way, I guess, for life to test you and kind of like see if you're gonna be bored enough for you to go back to those toxic ways of living, toxic relationships, bad friends, or again, toxic relationships, bad habits that you spent years and years unlearning, trying to like work on your mindset and limiting beliefs and what you believe to be true, and getting out of these environments that no longer serves you, and you trying to be this version, this new version of yourself that you want to become, where after years of so much work, you're no longer the same person whom you used to be. You know what I mean? Like, you're no longer the same guy or person that you used to be, and now you're just like different. But also, it's so weird because you're different. You're not who you used to be, but also you're not who you want to be yet. You've done all this work to unlearn all these bad habits, and now you're like in a pretty good, safe and healthy space, but also you haven't done enough, or the stars haven't fully aligned in order for you to now be the person that you want to be. You know what I mean? And I just like to call that this waiting phase. And I guess that's where I am right now. You know, that's why I like to call it just like this waiting phase, where it's just like weird. Nothing is happening. Again, you're not waiting for someone specific or something specific. You've done all the work that you needed to do. And again, healing is still an ongoing process. It's not this thing where you do every single thing that you're supposed to do and you get to this position in life where you're like, okay, now I'm healed, I've done all the work that I needed to do, now give me the thing that I want, that I want to have. That's not how it works. You know, it's an ongoing process. There is always room for improvement. It never ends. But again, it's still this good and safe place where you're not the person whom you used to be anymore. Again, you're now a completely different man or woman. But also, again, stars haven't fully aligned in order for you to finally be that person that you want to be yet. And again, this is that place that's like, that really tests patient your patience and just like will to continue going after this thing that you want to go after. Again, it's like, let's see if this dude is gonna go back to those bad habits that he spent so many years unlearning, in toxic ways and relationships and environments where again things are just boring. Literally everything is just silent. Nothing is happening at this point yet. Keyword yet. And then there is this fourth stage where that's like the final stage where you now finally are the person that you've always wanted to be. You're this version of yourself whom you've been working on for years and years and years, doing a lot of unlearning, you know, limiting beliefs and bad habits and getting out of toxic environments and relationships and all these things. And now you're just like, you've reached your final destination where now you're the man or woman whom you've always wanted to be. You know, the woman of your dreams. Again, if you're like an artist, you finally like reach the peak or like the top of your whatever field you're like on, or if you're like an athlete, or you can apply this to anything. Again, with me, I feel like I'm in that stage where, that third stage where I have literally gone through that dark night of the soul where every single thing that can possibly go wrong went wrong. You know, that first stage that I just talked about, every single thing that could possibly go wrong did in fact go wrong. And I'm not gonna go in detail about that, but that was like the darkest moment in my life. Again, I'm not gonna go in detail about that because it's really personal stuff, but I went through that for years. You know, it wasn't easy. It took like 3 to 4 years in order for that to like end. And then I was in this second stage where I was just doing a lot of unlearning, limiting beliefs, trying to change my self concept and beliefs in what I believe to be true and how I perceive myself and the world, and getting out of like toxic environments and relationships that no longer served me and all that kind of stuff. And then it was just like these years and years of me unlearning and healing, not only physically but also mentally and emotionally and spiritually as well. It was just like a lot of unlearning and healing, and that was like, oh god, it was such a messy process. It was so messy, it was not pretty at all, because a lot of people like to portray that healing stage as this like drinking matcha and your lattes and tea, and you're like journaling and like, dear diary, this is what I did today. That is not what I'm talking about. It's a really messy and ugly process. That's the time where I was like, I don't know what was going on, but I was so angry. I was so angry at every single person. I was angry at everyone. I was angry at myself. It was just like a lot of this unaddressed and unresolved traumas. And I don't know why I'm doing like this, because it's real traumas and feelings where I just needed to express and release and work through that I didn't even know were there. And triggers, again, it was a lot of mental, emotional, spiritual and physical work that needed to be done. And this took me like what, four almost 5 years to like complete. Again, healing is still an ongoing process. It never ends. There's always room for improvements. But looking back to how things used to be now, or the person that I used to be compared to who I am now, I'm in a completely different stage right now, dude. Like, I am not the person that I used to be back then. I'm completely different. I meet people and they always mention like, wow, you really have changed. You're not the person that I knew growing up. And I'm like, yeah, I have changed. And I'm glad. That's a good thing. Because it took a lot. It took a lot in order for me to finally get to this place where I'm like mostly healed. And I'm happy with myself and where I'm at. And had to like get rid of all these not so healthy relationships and work on myself to get better and have a regulate and to just like regulate my nervous system. And it was a lot. Again, healing is not this like sunshine and rainbows kind of process. It gets really messy and ugly. It's not pretty. Now I'm at this third stage where literally nothing is happening, nothing is going on. And that's again what I like to call the waiting phase. But it's not like there's nothing going on in my life. Of course, I have a life outside of this. Like, out there, I have a life, and I actually do stuff. I go out and like hang out with my family and friends and go out and do stuff. And it's not like nothing is happening. Things do happen, of course, on a daily basis, but nothing that I want is happening yet. You know what I mean? Like, nothing that I find interesting. Someone looking from the outside, looking at me and my life, they could be like, what do you mean nothing is happening? Like, there's all these nice things you're doing. You're like going out with your friends, you go to dinners, you hang out with your family, you do this, you do that. It's like, yeah, that's nice, that's cool, but there's nothing that I want, that I like really, really want, that I've like been working towards for years now, that is happening right now. Again, from someone looking from the outside, they can be like, you live a pretty interesting life. And it's like, no, I do not. At least not for me. Not something that I find interesting right now is happening. Again, it's that waiting period. Waiting for who? Waiting for what? I don't know. I don't know who I'm waiting for or what I'm waiting for. But it just seems like every single thing that I'm trying to do or go after is kind of like throwing me back here to the same space. And it's not like it's in a bad way. No, it's not in a negative way. It's more like, I don't know what the world or God is like trying to tell me. Again, I'm not trying to be like woo woo, like, but I'm a pretty spiritual person. But I don't know what's going on. But I feel like every single thing that I'm trying to do is pulling me back to this place of stillness where it's like, just wait. Just wait. Again, wait for who? Wait for what? I have no idea. It's just, that's what I keep hearing in my gut feeling and my intuition. Again, not to sound like woo woo and like weird, but again, that's something that I'm feeling. Like, just wait. Wait for who? Wait for what? I have no idea. But it just feels like every single effort that I'm trying to put into doing something is pulling me back to this place of being still. So that's why I like to call it this waiting stage. Again, I've gone through that messy process of me being in the dark night of the soul and going through all these horrible, horrible things, then going through this second stage where I'm doing a lot of unlearning and healing. And now I'm a completely different person, and now I'm on this third stage where nothing is happening. Literally, nothing that I want is happening. Again, looking from the outside, you might be like, well, this and this is happening, yes, but like nothing that I want is happening right now at this moment. Nothing. And I'm just like, just sitting here, like, okay, what now? And I know that a lot of people have been in this stage where I'm in right now. I mean, it's not something new, and I understand that. I understand that I will always figure things out. At the end of the day, I'm not going to be here forever. But it feels like that. It feels like it's been forever, even though I know it hasn't. But it's been feeling like that lately. And before, I used to get pissed off by this. I used to get mad because I don't want to be still. I want to be out there doing things and going after this and these opportunities and doing all these things and making things happen because I'm a really practical person. But also at the same time, every single time I try to go out there and do something and try to make things happen, every single thing, every single force there is out there goes against me. And again, not in a bad way. It's just like everything just like pulls me back here and be like, dude, chill out. Everything is good. Everything is gonna work out. You will figure it out like you always have. But for now, you need to stay still. You need to calm down. You'll figure it out like you always have. You got this. And I know I got it. But man, sometimes it just feels like, what is going on? Like, do I even know what I'm doing or where I'm going? I mean, I know what I want. I've always known what I wanted, but it just feels like where I'm at right now, I just don't know how to get there yet. The thing is, it's not even like I'm in a rush. I'm not. I mean, I used to be like a year ago or so. I used to feel this urge to just like do. But again, like I've said, me trying to go out there and trying to do things and trying to make things happen by force, nothing is working out. Nothing, and not in a bad way, but in the best way. I'm laughing right now, but looking back when I was doing it and everything was just like going, I was just like trying to like swim against the tide and nothing would work out. I would get so pissed and so angry, but now I've kind of like gotten used to it where I'm not trying to swim against the current. I'm just like, okay, I've been trying to do this and it's not working out right now. I've been trying to do it to, I've been trying to, doing, I've tried to do it over and over and over again, but it all keeps pulling me back to this same place of forcing me to just be still. I guess I've gotten the message now. I've gone to this point where I'm not trying to like force things to happen anymore. I'm not trying to like swim against the current. I've just kind of like learned to let myself float and let the current just take me, just let myself flow and just like let the current take me wherever. Where, I don't know. I really have no idea. Again, that's this stage of my life. I really don't know what's going on. I don't know where I'm going. I know what I want exactly. I know what I want crystal clear. I know what I want. I know where I want to be and what I want to be doing. But I don't know. I don't know at this stage right now. I don't know how to get there yet. But I know what I want. And me trying to do these things to get there is not working. So I've kind of like learned to let go and let the current take me and guide me where, I don't know. And quite frankly, at this point, I do not care. I seriously do not care where I'm going, what's happening. I'm just like letting myself go wherever. I'm just letting the current take me wherever it's supposed to take me. And I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see how that ends up turning out. But something that I know is that I trust myself. I do trust myself, and I trust that whatever happens, I'll always end up working things out. But for now, man, I don't know. I seriously don't know what's happening. I'm really at this stage where I don't know what's going on. Literally, nothing is happening, and I've stopped. I've stopped trying to make things to happen by force. Now I'm just like, I've chosen to let go. I've chosen to let go and just like sit back and watch and see where this whole thing takes me. Seriously, I'm just like, okay, I give up. I give up. I'm not trying to swim against the current anymore. I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna let the current just like take me wherever. And even though it's pretty boring on my part, again, someone looking from the outside, they might be like, that's not boring. You're doing all these things, you're going out to dinners and stuff. But it's like, no, that's not really what I want to do. I'm doing that because I have nothing else to do. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's weird. It's a weird place to be, because again, I'm a really practical person. I like to do and do and do. I'm a very action oriented person, but I guess that's not what's gonna be happening now. For now, I'm just here, just letting things happen and see where that takes me. It's not the most fun. Again, it's boring. It's also like, yeah, it's just boring. Nothing is happening. Nothing interesting that I want to happen is happening right now, and that's okay. Also, another thing is that I know it's all gonna end up working out in the end, because it always does every single time without fail. So I guess I've just chosen to trust the process. But gone, it's hard. It's just hard to stay still. It's not the easiest thing, at least for me, because I like to go, 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 do, be practical, action oriented kind of person. But I guess that's not happening for now. That's not gonna happen for now, and it's just something that I really wanted to talk about. I'm in that in between kind of phase, that weird in between kind of phase where I've done more than enough work, where I'm like now a completely different person, basically like a newborn baby with a new mindset and new perspective on life, and just like new concept, new self concept, and the way that I view myself. But also, the stars, I guess, haven't fully aligned in order for me to fully be the person that I want to be, if you know what I mean. Maybe this is me just being delusional this whole time. Because I don't know, I seriously don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going. But that's also what makes this phase exciting in a way, because it's like, I wonder if I'm just like delusional and nothing is gonna happen. I'm just being in my head this whole time. Or maybe I'm not being delusional, and I'm just like trusting myself and trusting the journey and my instinct and intuition, and it's all gonna work out in the end, and I'm gonna be able to look back and be like, wow, that was a crazy time in my life, but look, it all worked out. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. We'll see how that ends up turning out. But God, sometimes I sit with myself and I'm like, dude, you're crazy. You're crazy. You're weird. You're crazy. You're weird. You're so weird, and you're just delusional. What if nothing happens? But also, it's like, if nothing happens, then nothing happens. What's the worst that can possibly happen? Unless you try to give yourself that chance to go after things that you want and things that you like, right? That's all that matters in the end. So yeah, you will always end up learning something new along the way, along the journey. It's not always about the destination, but the journey at the end of the day. So yeah, I guess that's what I always try to tell myself, to kind of like cope with the reality of things. But maybe I just am delusional. Maybe I'm just that. But also, I realize that being realistic has never gotten me anywhere. So it is what it is. It is what it is. So yeah, it's just something that had been on my mind for a while now, and I just wanted to talk about it. Being in that in between phase is just, it's weird. It's weird. It's strange. It's also funny, but it's also sad, but also exciting because it's like, oh, I wonder how this is gonna end up turning out. But also, it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know what's gonna happen. But yeah, that's all I have to say for today's episode. Let me know about you guys' opinions and what you think. What stage of your life do you think you're at? You know, between all these four stages that I just mentioned. Let me know. Let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this little hangout session, like and subscribe if you feel like it. Again, I love you and love you and love you. Sending you virtual hugs and kisses. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you guys on the next one. God, I'm so delusional and weird, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe something will come out of it. No, but definitely for sure something will happen. For sure. I just need to keep trusting the process. So yeah, that's all I have to say. I love you. Subscribe, take care of yourself, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.